Welcome to Kidswear Therapy Podcast, brought to you by Pirouette Media. If you enjoy listening, please remember to follow, like, or even review us wherever it is you listen. Kidswear Therapy is a safe space to discuss the ups and the downs, the positives and the irritations of the kidswear industry. So join Linda and myself and our wonderful guests on Kidswear Therapy. Hello, Linda.
Hi, Katie.
That was rubbish for a start. Obviously, we're a little bit rusty.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just through. We didn't. It feels like we just got back from New York, but we got back from New York and then the kids were on holiday. So it's the February holiday and it was Hattie's birthday. So it has been, it's been really busy, but now they're back in school. So hence we are recording, what did we call it? Oh, a debrief. It's the debrief of fall winter 25 wholesale selling season.
Kidswear.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's not the whole world of wholesale selling season of everything. It's just we deal with kidswear
Well,
and my
actually,
stuff.
it's the whole world in a way because currently the London collections have just been on and it all moves to Milan for this week. So, you know, the world of adult fashion is kind of in parallel, isn't it?
Yeah, it is in parallel, but then all the Italian stuff was like, that feels like it was, what was it, 6 weeks ago for us,
January.
Because we did Pitti Bimbo together.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one show we did together, and then we've done separate shows. So we'll start off with Pitti Bimbo. What was your general feelings about the show and any feedback?
Well, for a starter, it was cut down from 3 days to 2. So for me, I felt it was a little bit rushed because I actually flew back on the second day. But I was very impressed with the new design and the new layout. And it just felt fresher. And it was busy. One of the most important things.
Yeah, I think for, when you start off with the first show, then you get like between the shows, everyone's like, well, how did it go and everything.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I wasn't sure how this season would go. And I was so pleased to see the footfall at the show. And yes, it is a much reduced show. It's more compact. It's just the main floor of the first floor of the main pavilion. But it was really, I felt like the vibe, it was really buzzy, like when you're at the shows and you've got that kind of noise in the background of the hustle and bustle and everything like that. That's what you're looking for. And that's what it had. I was really pleased to see brands like Mona Lisa were there and they had that new initiative with working with influencers and inviting them across and creating content. It was a forward way of communication, which I'm really advocating at the moment. I was really pleased. I don't know about you.
And also the second day was busy as well. Because
Yes.
last season, the first day felt quite busy. And then the second day, the footfall dropped. But the second day this time was just as busy as the first.
Yeah,
So
and interestingly, I think as well that they had said, I mean, I might have to look back on this, but I think it was like 77 or like 70% or something like that was Italian buyers.
yes.
And that was really nice to see the Italian buyers coming back. Obviously, there had been a charge for entrance into the show that was no longer. So that obviously that was great. So it was opening it up. I mean, the feedback from brands, I seem to get that they all seemed quite pleased as in orders. There was some feedback from buyers in the way that they are looking for more brands, but I really do hope that was a really good, solid change in the show that, it worked well. I was pleased.
It did. And there were lots of new brands there as well. So like Velocipede for one, that was an interesting brand there from New York.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see some new and different names as well.
It's really encouraging, and I really hope that like for summer as well that it should be a good show. But I think if they start off now and with communication and like things that they're doing and things like that, then I'm sure it will be a really good show in the summer. Playtime Paris. So I was at Playtime Paris, and yeah, I was really, really, again, because I was laughing because this is called Kidswear therapy, and like I have to be honest, quite often at the end of a show season, or actually it has been post-pandemic after a show season, I have been in need of some therapy because because I guess I get chatted to or chatted with, and I don't know. It's just, you get lots of positives, but also you can get quite a lot of negatives. But this Playtime Paris, there was really strong collections, and I felt that across. Like, it has to be said, I know I'm meant to be talking about Playtime Paris, but it was very prevalent at Playtime Paris. But there was a real point of difference between collections and between brands and their design, which is what we've been screaming out for ages, because there has been quite a lot of looking at what over your shoulder, looking at what everybody else is doing, what's working there, and then thinking, right, well, I've got to do this, and I've got to do this color palette, and I've got to do that because Bobo shows or somebody else is doing it. And actually, to be honest, there was such strong collections there. I was really, really encouraged. Some great new brands. I was pleasantly surprised. Again, it's such a big show. I would say to brands taking part in the show, really, really make sure that you are contacting everybody, and doing everything you can to kind of get everybody to your stand, because sometimes location is key, and I do see that quite a lot.
Just like the high street, really.
Yes, completely. And it's like, yeah, it's like Monopoly, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, and
Location is
hence
key.
stand prices are more in some of these lanes. But then in the same respect, I still heard it when I was there, that a lot of people, they just rely on being discovered. And I think that, to be honest, there are so many brands. There are so many brands in the ether now that you have to do everything you can. So there we go. Very positive. And then CIFF.
CIFF. Quite interestingly, this season, a lot of the CIFF regulars were at Playtime Paris. So
Mm.
quite a few were missing from the normal show. CIFF relocated. It had been on the ground floor. It's gone up to a balcony area. Having said balcony, it's huge. It's a very large balcony. So it was able to easily absorb all the brands. It looked good. It had a great entranceway with green bouncy things that I'd spent a long time photographing the entrance.
I must admit, I saw those on I like, obviously, like, I think when we were both at different shows, or
Yeah.
or we know other good friends in the press that are at the shows, like, you kind of stalk because you're like, well, I'm not there, so I want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I saw those green blobs or whatever, I was like, I had visions of you. Oh yeah, of you guys.
You had visions of me on them. I had
I
visions
did.
of you on them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's so funny, because when I went to when it was still pandemic, I had my story where I nearly ended up stuck in
Yes.
Copenhagen, and I was terrified and had a bit of a meltdown. And I don't know why I had such a meltdown, because being stuck in Copenhagen is not such a bad deal.
It's not an ordeal.
But during pandemic, it just felt like I would,
Yeah.
that was it. But they it was located on a mezzanine level as well, and I think that must be the same
Yeah,
place.
it is. One of the photographers there told me it's the same area.
Ah, okay, cool.
But he said there weren't anywhere near the same number of brands. It was very reduced when it
Yeah,
was on the
and what was the
mezzanine.
quality like of the collections there?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I always think the Scandinavian brands, the make is always very, very good. And there's a mix because you have the little brands, and then you have there's a few big conglomerates there, and they
Mm,
have quite a few brands of their own.
yeah.
So they tend to be more commercial and older, not so much of the baby, and I think they're probably better value. And if you're looking for a brand that is affordable but isn't everywhere, then that's probably a good place to go and get them, as opposed to a pure designer brand. You know, brands like Hearst and Claire, for example, and they had some really cute little pieces. Wheat is another one. They're pretty big brands in Scandinavia, but they seem to be getting a little more creative. They have been very commercial. They do seem they have some nice items now. So that was good. What was lacking was normally there's a lot of lifestyle. There's a lot of toys and, you know, baby products and, you know, little picture books and things like that. And there was only one exhibitor, and that was Small Stuff, that actually had that kind of Scandi lifestyle product.
Was
Because
that through was
I
that
think
through
all
an
the others,
agent as well? The Small Stuff, was it an agent that was there?
no,
That's
no, she was
interesting.
doing it herself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's because a lot of the other lifestyle brands have gone to Paris.
Yeah, I do. It is
So
interesting that
Lywood
actually.
and
That's why
Canvas
I
Lodge.
say to everybody in Paris, you have to communicate because, like, the sea there, it's like it's an ocean. So you
Yeah,
make sure you shout about
yeah.
yourself.
And
Um,
actually, they would have really stood out, you know, because if there were two lifestyle brands there, then that would be, you know, good, great for both those brands.
yeah, and that's the interesting thing is weird about Pitti as well, is actually if you're in a smaller group or whatever, you can kind of stand out more as well.
Yeah.
So I mean it's worth thinking about when you think about what show you're going to do. But I guess it's worth in this as well, because the Copenhagen colour girls,
Yeah.
they literally did, and I think hats off to them because I kept bumping into them, and I was like, when I came back from Paris, because we did Pitti Bimbo, they went straight to Paris, and I was shattered. But they were literally getting on the
I
plane
saw
to
her
go
the
do
first
CIFF.
morning.
Really,
She
she
was
must be
like,
exhausted.
oh,
They were, I'd be honestly,
eyes on, you know, stalks.
if I had an award for like really conviction and like
Yeah.
dedication to the to the cause, that would have been them, because they must have been exhausted, because that has
Yeah.
been, and it's not getting any better, because I think I just looked at the show dates and it's not any better next season. They're back to back again.
Wow.
So yeah, it's quite a hard schedule, and time will tell whether that's a good thing or
Yeah.
not. So
And
let's
I
see.
have to say, they're one of my favourite brands of the season,
Copenhagen
Copenhagen
Cars.
Colours.
Oh, they're brilliant,
Yeah.
aren't they? They're so good.
They've really expanded from, they used to have a core knitwear product,
Uh-huh.
and now they've got a full range, including cowboy boots as well, which is quite amazing. So,
Well, I have to admit that every time, so they contacted me, and every time I went to, because I wanted to do something at their booth and do some content or anything, and every time I went to their booth, they were always busy. So there we go. Well
yeah,
done,
I'm not
Copenhagen
surprised.
Colours. They're
Yeah,
they're great. So
yeah.
last one, because in the season was
New
Playtime
York,
New
New
York, New
York.
York, New York. It's a crazy town. It sounds me crazy. I never sleep in New York, and it sounds Richard crazy because we go to diners at 4 o'clock in the morning, because
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
God.
and like the hours are just bonkers. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was really good as per usual. It's the same thing. It's just they've got it sorted with, the buyers are they are before it opens, waiting to the Americans.
It's two different worlds, isn't it, Katie?
Yeah, it's just completely different, because it's just also different in the way that it's just people just buy differently as well. That, like, Americans, they're just no messing around. They're there. Why? And also, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? It's like logic. Why would you spend money on a flight? Why would you spend money on a hotel and not just get the job done? They just go in, write the orders. I mean, what was really interesting, right, at the show is, obviously some brands are doing incentives. So if you put the order down at the show, they're giving some reduction or whatever for down payment. We saw
Ah,
people putting, like, using cards at the show. So you can imagine.
wow.
So that's a really, I would say to any brands as well, if you're trying to kind of, I mean, I know margins are slim, okay,
Yeah,
I get it. But if you're trying to get cash flow and you're trying to make
yeah.
sure, on the whole kind of pre-order books and everything like that, it maybe is worth doing
Mm.
something like that and looking at the way of just doing business in a more modern way. And everybody loves a discount, don't they? So if you
Yeah,
know that you can get a
yeah.
discount then and there and placing your order, it could
Mm.
be another way of thing.
Yeah.
So just take that little tap machine. You've got those,
And
like, what
that's
are those, the
amazing
Apple ones or
at
whatever?
the
Take that
moment as
machine,
well.
tap machine, tap, tap, tap. Again, lots of agents there,
Mm.
but still lots of brands. There is a waiting list for the show. You, yeah, and interestingly enough, it's like they could put more brands in, right? But there's a couple of floors that are in the building that are getting done up and everything. So it'll be interesting to see if they do, when they are done up, whether show grows more. Oh, they've got news actually. Have you heard as well? Is that they've got this little tiny show in LA.
Uh,
So in the summer after the New York show,
yeah.
there will be a little show, I think 3 days later, in LA with a number of brands as well. So
So this is presumably American agents will be handling this
I would,
mainly.
yeah, no, it's the team. The team are going, so obviously it makes sense
Oh,
for them that
okay.
the Playtime team and everything. But I don't
Yeah,
know who the brands are that are doing it. But
yeah.
obviously they're marketing it as like the small traveling show or
Mm.
whatever like that. But could be an interesting one.
Mm.
So that's another thing.
Anything stand out there for you?
Yeah, there is a brand that I was going to say. There was a brand. It was really funny, actually. Story. So there was like a. I went. I was thinking, right? Oh, I want to get as many kind of buyers in the beginning, just kind of pounce on them for for some interviews and things before everybody like completely runs away from me. So there was a lady that was looking. There's like a wall with all the press, the like the lookbooks and
Yeah.
stuff, whatever. So there was a lady that was looking at it. I thought, oh, she's got a nice jumper on. And so like I kind of pounced on her and said, oh, are you a buyer? Could I do a very quick interview with you? And she was like, oh no, oh, it's you. Oh no, it's you. And I was like, what? And she was like, I was really scared in case you came up to me. And I was like, oh
Oh
my
no.
God, I'm not that scary. I was like, oh no. Actually, interesting enough, it turned out that her and her daughter had a brand. She wasn't a buyer, but then she went, come with me, and then took my hand and took me to the stand. And then when I actually got to the stand, I was like, oh, this is absolutely brilliant, the collection. So I was laughing because I was like, it could have gone either way. It was like, then you
Yeah.
go and you go, oh, it's really lovely. And then you never film a single thing or something. But actually,
Yeah.
it was brilliant. And we put out like an individual reel with them. It's called Wild Wawa, and the collection, it is just so nice. And it's like it's beautiful, like warm color palettes, and it is, there's lots of beiges and everything in there, but it's like, I don't know, she's got a lovely her sister does the prints. She's got this lovely sunflower print. I mean, I think it's from like baby to the age of 6 or 8 or something, so it's like lower range, but it's that range where you can actually dress your children and they have no say in it. And so you can actually make them look the way you want it. And it was just, I mean, if my girls were little, it was something that I would have really gone for. And what's interesting with the reel that we put out was there had been some interesting comments from retailers who actually saw them at the show and
Uh,
obviously have taken
yeah.
them on, and it's their first ever entry into the wholesale market, because they've done quite well from just straight to consumers. So yeah, that was really good. Wild Wawa, so they're Californian. They produce in Peru, Lima, Peru, because that's where mum is from, and hopefully mum
Ah,
doesn't think that I'm that scary.
yeah.
This could be a new thing where people just run away from me.
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem.
Well, there you go. That's next season.
I'll be catching
Sorted.
people. Yeah. So across the board, just really quickly, because we've probably
Yeah.
been way longer than we were meant to be.
Yeah. No, across the board positive, you know. Really sort of I was at the point last season, the season before, I was like, is Kidswear dead?
Was that post that you put out, Linda? Oh my God. And when I saw that,
I hope
I was
not,
on the
but
plane and I saw that and you were sitting like 6 rows behind. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, controversial before you even land. That was brilliant. I love it. Okay, any themes that have run through the season? So, like themes to do with trends, business, or behaviors, Linda?
mountains.
Yes,
Lots
mountains.
and
Please, please.
lots, particularly boys wear. Lots of mountain themes. Pitti had a whole section devoted to
Oh, yeah,
mountain
they
wear.
did. Yeah.
Molo, always fantastic
Oh,
jackets
yeah,
for
yeah.
ski wear and mountains. Sweaters with mountains on. Fleece with prints of mountains. I mean, just so much.
Yeah, that's true. And
And
actually,
mountain boots as well
oh yeah,
in the
loads of
shoewear
yeah,
category.
mountain boots. That yeah, they're brilliant. But the also Dino, what's Dino Goes Agent? What's it called? Dino something. The ones that have got the ski suits. The UK brand. They always have the
Oh, dino, I
yeah,
call them,
Dino.
because
Oh,
they
do you
had dinosaur things.
Dino? I call them
Do you
Dino.
call a dinosaur a dinosaur?
I do actually, because I'm cutesy like that.
I've never heard that before.
I thought it was Dino Goes Agent, but never mind. I'm never good at pronouncing names of brands anyway. Yeah, so they were in New York, so like obviously, yeah. And I think, and actually, when I spoke to one, when I spoke to one of the buyers, that was one of their brands that they selected. They liked them a lot. Um, I had a really interesting one business wise. Was like I met quite a few people who bought into the business.
Oh,
Yeah, who have taken over, so retailers as well, so people that have bought over retailers, and then people that have bought over brands as well, and like really young business people that are like enthusiastic and looking at it like obviously it's kids, but
yeah.
they're looking at it in the bigger picture that is business, right?
Yeah.
So I saw. So they've kind of taken on some of these businesses that might have like some issues and everything like that, but they're looking at it as in, it's, it could maybe, I don't know, it could be any other business, but they're looking at it in that way, how to actually kind of grow it or maximize it, or so
Well,
that
there
was
was
really
one of those
interesting.
at CIFF as well.
Oh
Do you
really?
remember the brand Okagoka? Very old, traditional, Danish brand. And I spoke to the guy there, and he'd just taken it over maybe a year ago, doing a very similar offering but updating. But he said, I've switched a lot of my manufacturing to China, I've dropped the price, and now it's doing well. It was said it was a price sensitive issue.
Right, more trends, Linda.
Well, one of the other things I remember seeing, and we chatted about briefly, was a cowboy,
Oh yeah.
because there's pretty much a cowboy trend happening. Copenhagen colours particularly, but also ginger snaps,
Yeah, I
whose
was gonna say
label
ginger
that we
snaps. Yeah.
liked for quite a few seasons. And they really went all out on the kind of prairie girl and the boys cowboy side of it too. And it seems to be it's an undercurrent. It's not a strong trend at the moment, but it's something a little different that's come along, and it's there. And I
Yeah.
don't. Was that in Paris as well, and New York?
Yeah, there's always there. I think that there has been kind of an undercurrent of it, but I think that yeah, the cowboy thing and the double denim and like a molo, was it
Yeah.
last season as well? They had like the horses down the sleeves and they had all the kind of the denim references and everything. So I think that it's yeah, definitely cowboys one. But
And
interesting. Just a point to say quickly about ginger snaps is I had lots of feedback from press and from people that that they want it in the UK, right? Like you can't really get ginger snaps in the UK. So
no.
any agents listening in the
Yeah.
UK, is one of the best brands out there at the moment, isn't it? The range in their
It
collection and
is.
their boys collection is brilliant, isn't it? So
And I haven't asked them so much about pricing, but I imagine the
their
pricing is
pricing's
reasonable.
actually reasonable. Yeah, their pricing's reasonable. Their quality's good.
Yeah.
They're a great family as well. They're
Yeah.
so yeah. and also their photography is really good. So back to trends. Anything else, Linda?
Lots and lots of fleeces back again. And lots of bobble fleece with things on, like 3D effect.
I got
Lots of printed fleeces.
so I got into trouble for saying fleece, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's because it wasn't fleece.
It was fleece. It was fleece. It's for the same company that you're saying it about. I'm telling you. And they gave me in trouble for saying it was fleece. And I said, but it's fleece, like because I am Scottish. It's like
Yeah.
the fleece of a sheep, okay?
Yeah.
But she was like, no, a fleece, and she was talking about the technical fabric, like that is
Yeah.
obviously used for sportswear, which I know. But I was talking about the fleece of the sheep, which it is, okay? What would you say? You said
Yeah,
fleece
I,
for
I
the same
mean,
thing.
it's the same thing. It's the texture. It's the look of it. It's the texture of it.
Uh-huh.
It's a faux sheepskin.
Faux sheepskin.
And
Yeah.
what is a sheepskin? It's a
Fleece.
fleece.
Exactly. So I got into big trouble. Well, not big trouble. I got told off. Not that I remember it or anything. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you. Fleece is really in. But it's been in for ages, hasn't it? Because like
Yeah.
I remember like what it was about 7 years ago. Remember
Yeah.
they were like making like boots out of them,
Yeah.
fleece, and there was like a really cool Korean company that was doing that. But then I think you're right. I think that the one we were talking about was actually it is wool fleece, which is interesting because to wear it,
Yeah.
it's not so soft, is it?
No, I'm kind of surprised because in days of sustainability, we all know that most of these are made with polyester and
Yeah,
they shed in the washing machine and
yeah,
everything. So I'm kind of surprised to see so much of it around. But I'm also, I guess, as a price point, you can do a thick, heavy cover up at a really, really good price. That's probably accounting for some of it as well. Price seems a sensitive issue at the moment. It
it's
seems to
really
be quite
interesting.
important.
So it depends on the feedback because I think when I'm talking to retailers, price point seems to be like people are saying price points is an issue, but actually when you're actually talking to the retailers are like, actually price point doesn't seem to be like for like the boutiques and everything like that because the customer service is about ease for the parents. So some of these parents that are going to these stores, I think in general in kidswear, like I think, but not in the independent. I don't think that it's such a problem, the price point. I feel like it's a bit of a mask, actually. I feel like it's a bit of a thing that people are saying. So I was talking with a very big buyer, and they were saying, like, Montclair cannot sell enough of it. Now,
Wow,
what about that as a price point? Like,
that's
come on.
amazing.
So, like, but then they were saying, so basically, the more like the top price is not a problem, and then like the kind of lower bits is those middle kind of independence that is a bit like the price
So
point is
if
ticky.
you've not got the brand name,
Yes, exactly, not got, and you've not got the established brand name. I think maybe sometimes it is like being used as an excuse for that middle kind of buyer, but I don't think it is. Well, my feedback from
yeah,
some buyers isn't
yeah.
that price point hasn't been the problem. It's if they love it, if it's
Yeah.
cute, if the kid's gonna wear it.
So what else have you noticed, Katie? What's your observations coming
Well,
from?
I guess with social media, so if we're going to talk about that just now, I've noticed like this season has been really, really interesting in the fact that more than ever, people are creating content around the shows. And so stores are creating content about visiting the shows. They're creating reels. They're saying the brands that they bought. I mean, years ago, buyers would not like a brand because
Yeah,
like on Instagram, because they wouldn't want somebody else to see that they had liked, it's just Instagram is a whole totally different platform to what it was 7, 8 years ago, right? And I think that if you do not get up to date with it or embrace it, you are going to be left behind completely. And I think it's all so much about working together on Instagram, and it's about sharing and tagging and knowing what's the difference between a story and reel and what they do for you. Because I mean, we saw this season, I mean, I know that you made a lot of stories about different shows and things, but they were never reshared on stories, which is for it, which
It
is
drives me mad
yeah.
that you tag so many brands in, and that the brands need, even if they're just doing it at the end of the day, they need to be sharing these things, you know? Because then that's how everything spreads. That's how the word spreads for them. And I could tag 10 brands or more in a post or in a story, and maybe two will reshare.
Yeah, and
So
it's for
they're
me
not on it.
it's absolutely crazy for
Yeah.
me, because the ones that are actually doing really, really well are the ones that are doing that, and they're creating, and actually what was really wonderful was for me when I was traveling everything, some of the brands that were in the Pirouette directory zine that we were working with had created some wonderful content, some reels like around the show. So, I just repost them on my stories, and
Yeah.
they've created that content. They've put the work in to do that. I'm just sharing that with my audience, audience of people that are agents, that are retailers, that are,
Yeah.
and that's because they're tagging me. Like, they're not necessarily mentioning me in the comments or anything. They're
Yeah.
just tagging me, and then I can reshare. I just feel like so many people are stuck in what it used to be, and they need to let go. Okay, let
Yeah.
go. I'm going to talk about photography in a second, but and which will contradict kind of what I'm saying just
Yeah.
now. But you need to let go a bit of the fact, yes, you can have a pretty feed, but you need to just make sure that you have created a cover, and then you
Yeah.
put that cover on. You can now reshape your cover for the feed and everything. But you really, really need to realize that everything that you're doing is all about engagement. And also, this is another thing, right? Okay, so this I'm going to be so preachy, but I don't care. You cannot go to a trade show, okay, and have a stand and then go ballistic or worry so much about copying. Copying, okay, it can happen at any moment whatsoever, right? You are at a trade show. You have 3 days or 2 days to get out visually and communicate about your collection. Like, if somebody wants to take a photo at your stand, they will do it. They will do it from a pocket. They will do it from anything else. The reality of it is, if you're a small brand, you will not have enough money to sue to do anything like that. You just need to get your head round this, okay? And it's not great. It's horrendous, but it's the same with us. It's you've been copied, I've been copied. You get copying all the time, and actually we get copying in a very small niche of industry press. But
Yeah.
you need to be confident in the fact that your ideas are good quality, that you can think up other things, that you can
Yes.
keep going.
Yeah.
I think that you can't. I had a very small brand turn around to me and say, like, she was say to me about the collection and saying that it's like, don't, just maybe not this. And another person that had a lobster, okay, a lobster print on something. And I was like, you think that a lobster print hasn't been done many times before? But I am polite.
Yeah.
But I do think that I do understand. I understand that it would be awful if a lobster print came out, but you have to be confident in the fact that if you've made your orders, if you've got repeat customers, if you've got
Yes.
things, there's not a lot you can do about it, but you should be working with key press in the industry, because you're not. I don't know. I am getting
Should we
really
talk
preachy.
about the biggest gatekeeping of all?
What was that?
You
Bobo
saw
shows.
it in Paris, the
Bobo shows.
Bobo Wall. They made a fortress.
Oh, it's so funny. Because that's another thing. I mean, literally, I mean, my height, I was laughing because
Yes.
my height, if I just went like that, but
Yeah.
then I was like, would they be able to know if it was my arm? But then and
Like a
also,
submarine going
you
up.
know, I love Bobo shows, right? I've
Yeah.
been a mega advocate for Bobo show for years and years
Yeah.
and years. Like I was actually looking at stuff the other day on it. I mean, I've written so many articles on them over the years and things. And it's like, and actually, to be honest to them, it was a brilliant marketing thing. It was so
Yeah.
funny. It was
Well,
hilarious
that's
because
it. Everybody photographed the wall.
yeah, it was hilarious. And it was like, oh, well, it's so people there and brands. They were a bit like, it's a little bit like, whoa. But then in the same thing, is it kind of funny and marketing spin? I don't know. I didn't go back because I went and there was a girl at the door or whatever, and then she
Yeah.
was checking my press thing. And then I thought to myself, do you know what? I could be going and looking at other brands and I
Yeah.
could give them my time. And so, yeah, I didn't go back. But that's not to be against Boba shows because I kind of thought it was kind of funny. And I like something like that, a big
Yeah.
marketing big thing. But
But it's great. It gives us something to talk about too. So
yeah,
thumbs up for that.
thumbs up.
Didn't you go somewhere else? Didn't you go somewhere else, Katie?
Oh
Have we
yes,
forgotten somewhere?
sorry. Yeah, this is turning into a much longer podcast than yeah, I went to Turkey. And
Yay.
actually, so I went to CBME Turkey, and it's only has, so CBME Turkey, and they have like, and then they have CBME China as well, but they're only like once a year, the show.
Mm.
And it was really interesting, and the footfall there was huge. Actually, it was thousands and thousands there. So it was a really interesting um market.
Yeah.
It was just completely different.
So
The
who were the
buyers that were there.
buyers there? Who
The
were you
buyers.
seeing there?
I mean, it was like lots of different countries so it's like, things like Uzbekistan, like Libya, like lots of. I mean, it was, to be honest, there was lots of people that actually found it difficult to get visas to
Yeah.
get to Europe to see
Yeah.
um, the European brands. I was really interested. Kokori Kids was there,
Ah.
and she had a really big, elaborate stand, and her collection was absolutely stunning, and so that was really good to
Yes, I
see.
haven't seen her for ages
Yeah,
at
it was
any of
really
the
good.
European shows.
Yeah, it was really good, but it was really. I think there's lots of potential there with that show. I
Mm.
think if you are looking to move into different markets and things, I think
Mm.
it's an untapped buyer, definitely, for the kind of
Mm.
European or the state shows. It was just dealt different culturally completely, and actually, interesting enough, they had a women's area that was so they're trying to really promote women in business because it is
Yeah.
very masculine out there. There's lots of manufacturers that
Yeah.
then have brands, and big groups of men buyers. You just don't see that. At Playtime Paris, big groups of men walking around
Actually,
all
there were
together.
some at Florence, though.
Oh yes, oh my goodness, yes.
I've
you're
not seen
completely
that before in
no,
Florence.
you're completely right, Linda. And actually, I was talking about this with somebody else. Yeah, there was like big groups
Like
of
10, 12 men all
yes,
together.
yes, I know, and which is really unusual. I don't know why.
Yeah.
We're quite unusually a
A
female
female business.
business, but
There's a few husbands
yeah.
that have
There's
been dragged in.
a few husbands that have been dragged in, but buyers wise, you don't see that
No,
so much.
you don't.
So yeah, so it was really interesting. The women's area, just to quickly look back, the women's area was to really promote women in business and women that started brands, and they had like a whole initiative there, which was brilliant. They had like blow dry your hair out, and they, obviously because us women love that kind of thing.
I love a
Maybe it needs
manicure.
to be a bit of a mix between women, like it's women in business. But I must admit though, I didn't get my hair. Obviously, I pretended that I got my hair tongued. But I did get the massage, and it was really funny because I was meant to just do like an intro into the massage and then come out of the, the whole thing of your face is in. And then Richard just left me because he knew that I was like gone, gone. So I think there's a huge potential there. There's a really nice movement there, which we have seen for quite a long time, was like mum influencers starting kids brands. So there was one that was a clothing collection. I think it's called Mila Kids, and then there was another one that was sunglasses, beautiful packaging, like really, really well executed brands. So yeah, I think that there's potential there. I would just like to know a bit more about the buyer. I guess that's my thing, is I'd like to know exactly a bit more about who the buyers were that were going. Right, Linda, now
Pitti.
is the time to pick your favorite brands from the fall winter 20. Oh,
and your Schwerbrock.
Schwarbrook,
however you say it. Consistently one of the better brands that I see now.
Yeah.
Not for everyone.
Yeah.
Quite avant-garde, but beautiful, and fusing modern with tutu, and it's just kind of every season it's beautiful. And I think she's one of the, if you're looking for fashion,
true designers, she's a true designer. I think. Yeah,
she's a true designer. So for me, she was strong. And Jezerum Baby.
What one was that?
But the beautiful silk dresses with the big floral thing above.
Oh, right, okay.
Flower, like a flower petal.
Oh, yes, yeah, above. I know. Yep. That was really nice.
And again, and that's a collection that has baby and little, 5 to 7. I don't know what it goes to, 8 years old.
Yeah, so it still is
beautifully
like,
made.
Yeah, on the lower
really
end.
Lovely collection. So how about you? What did you see?
So like clothing wise, I guess if we're going to talk about design, like if you're talking about like a design led collection, I think Alexandra from Raspberry Plum, I've been kind of, there is some brands out there, they're amazing brands, right? Design led brands, and their collections pre-pandemic were pretty successful. They're doing really, really well, right? Then I kind of have felt over the past couple of seasons and everything that they just need a bit of a revamp. They need a bit, and I know it's easy for me to say because I'm not paying for the patterns. I know the tech packs, and I'm not paying for all these things, but I do think they need a bit of a revamp with their branding, a revamp with the aesthetic, and just what parents are looking for now for a design led brand, and the sophistication that they're looking for. Even if you look at the red carpet and you look at everything like that at the moment for the award season, there is very rarely like an avant-garde kind of, unless it's for the music awards or something like that. A majority of stuff is, it's very difficult to find a dress that's not absolutely beautiful, because they're, even if you're avant-garde, it's chic. When things are massive tulle things, they're not multicolored, they're monotone tulle. It's just a different kind of aesthetic that people are looking for. And I feel that some of the brands that have been a little bit, they're, in decline, or they just need to have a relook at that. And I feel like, although Alexandra says that she hasn't, because I've spoken to her about it, she's like, oh no, I'm just doing the same. No, you're not. It's really chic, her collection. And I can see the things that were kind of avant-garde. So she's got this yellow flower dress, and even her tulle is all monotone colors, and it's just the execution of it is really elevated. And you can see it in a Dubai multi-brand store. You can see it in these places where the parents will want to buy something like that. And actually, testament that her agent's Fisticates now in New York. And
so it's a little bit more like a Dior tulle. than a
Yes, yeah,
funky street
yeah, then
or
funky. I mean, I love funky, but I just feel like design led and everything like that. And I think we need to get out of this retro. Like, get out of the retro, leave it behind. It's done. It's dusted. And that's where Anya
yeah.
has done well, because
Yeah, it's such a modern
it's
collection.
such a modern collection. She started adding all the zips and the little
Yeah,
details to it that kind of made it more urban, and
yeah,
just a little bit more sporty to an occasion, like to an occasion dress, really.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that Raspberry Plum's collection, like design led, was literally the strongest. And obviously
Okay.
they're in the pop-up loft and everything like that, and they're out
Yeah,
with all the shows, but we're doing the fall winter 25 selling season, so
yeah.
that's fine. So anything else, Linda?
Do you know what I thought was fun? And they always have some interesting things. This is Pitti again, because I'm
Uh-huh.
looking at my Pitti list.
I've not done things to order for Linda, and I'm in trouble.
I don't know how you pronounce it, but MC2 St. Bath.
Oh yes, the swimwear.
They had a wonderful, well, they had the winter in the Alpine section, in the
Oh.
mountain section. They had like a cable car and they
Uh-huh.
had big teddy bears dressed up in the collection. But actually, when you look at the individual pieces, there was a wonderful sweater with a whole, like a Swiss or
Uh-huh.
ski scene with a
Oh.
skier, a repeated print of a
Oh, that
skier.
sounds cool.
And they had some really good pieces.
Uh-huh.
And of course, they are one of these brands that has an adult line and they produce a kids line from it. I particularly liked, what some of the pieces they had this season for a change.
Okay, I'm going to run you through the clothing through the other ones as well, like through CIFF. Right, go on, clothing through CIFF.
What did I like at Copenhagen Colours? Think Kids that you might
Oh,
have
yeah.
caught at Playtime Paris because they went there for the first
I
time.
didn't see them, but yeah.
Oh, Thinker again. They have this lovely technique where they photograph nice photographs and then they put around the hanger a picture of the child wearing the garment.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
They always do that on the New Society. They do
Yeah.
it on, oh gosh, I think they did it on Goldie and Ace this time as well. I think it's such a good way
Well,
to
I
do.
love taking the photograph
Yes, yeah.
of the child wearing it, and then you have the texture of
Yeah.
what they're wearing behind them.
The Sunday Collective do that too.
Yeah.
I'd advocate for that. It's a really good thing,
Yeah,
and I think
definitely.
for retailers as well. I mean, it's great for
Yeah.
press, but for retailers as well, it's really nice because you're visually straight away seeing a child in the clothing, so that's cool.
You can see exactly how it fits.
Yeah.
So it's So they're one of my favourites again.
Okay.
What else did we have there? There was some quite interesting Vera Moda. I don't really know them. They're women's wear though, and they launched a kids range for the first time, and it was quite sophisticated. It was a little, mini me version.
Sounds like you were really doing the show whilst I was running around eating things at the food thing.
I try and look at everything if I
Yeah.
can. If I have the time, I'll try to look at everything. And again, Molo weren't at Pitti this season; they were in Paris. But I caught up with them at CIFF as well, and I thought they had some great stuff this season.
Yeah, their dresses. I think their dresses this
Yeah.
season were really, really
Oh,
good.
there was this little silver sequiny
Yeah.
handbag, crystal handbag. I just wanted that.
Yeah, no, they're all. I mean, that's the thing with Molo. Like, there's always something in a Molo collection for someone, I think.
Yeah.
So
I actually have a baby, well, it was a sleepwear brand from Pitti, and it was called, I'm going to have to look at this because it's quite difficult I have no idea how to pronounce it. Palon Sinoblu. Palon Sinoblu. Palon Sinoblu.
you are giving us our work to try and find these brands and their blooming Instagram
They
handles.
had a lovely
When we tag them.
setup. They built like open like wardrobes without doors.
Oh yes, I know.
It was near the fleece.
Teddy. Oh, I just realized it's Teddy. not fleece.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
okay. Okay.
Okay, so but did you like those little scooters, Linda?
Oh,
At
yeah,
Pitti?
they're always cute, the little scooters.
Amboss toys. That's what they
Yeah,
were. Oh my goodness, could not get away from those scooters this season. And
yeah,
like kids interact with them like within an instant.
yeah,
You know, it's just like a fail
yeah,
safe. So Amboss toys was like a really good toy to look out for. I've just jumped to
yeah,
toys. I'm going all over
yeah.
the place. I've not gone by show, I don't think. So I'm going to just talk about some collections. My way of dealing with was ones that I kind of had never seen before and that I thought that are really
Mm-hmm.
worth watching and checking out. So Bruno Nation, which was at, I think it was at the New Now. So they are like a husband and wife, and they are based in Copenhagen, but the wife is Korean, and the wife was a women's wear designer, and they have a really small collection, like really compact collection, but it was really great, you know. And actually lots of feedback that I'd had from buyers was that they're looking for like Korean, you know, really
Yeah.
interesting small Korean brands, you know, and this was like an interesting small Korean brand from Copenhagen. So their denim was great, just everything was like oversized but really cool kind of silhouettes and tailoring, you know, so you can invest in the piece, keep it really good quality, pass it down, funky as well, not over designed. You know, it was very well done. And when I was there, they were taking orders as well. The other one was my Wild Wawa was at New
Yeah.
York. They have so much in their collection, down to like baby toys that are just beautiful gifts. I call them ready to go brands. I mean, I think probably Wild Wawa is more ready to go than
Yeah.
Bruno. But I think Bruno, like, I really think that you could easily, if they extend their collection, it could easily be a brilliant one. The other brands that were kind of doing well at shows were like the Sunday Collective from New York. They've got a space in Gallery Lafayette and for this spring summer collection, and I went in there to have a look at it. And again, I was like doing sales when I was there. Really nice collection, very wearable. I think they're kind of upping their kind of following, which is really good to see, you know, like, so that was exciting. Halcyon Nights. So they're from Australia. They, for me, are an example of a brand that has everything to go, and the communication, the amount of emails and the communication, the mailers that they send, right, are just, they're succinct, they're nice, they present everything brilliantly. They work so hard on communicating people, like communication, and you can see it working for them, because if your product's good, right, if you've got confidence in your product's good. They work really hard at making sure that their price point is accessible, and also they're also in that market that can be giftables as well, because it's like baby grows and things like that. Visuals are really good. That was one point I wanted to make in this podcast as well, was we are living in a time, right, where photography matters more than any other time. Like, photography is like the idea that you would not have a marketing budget for your photography is insane to me, because like, if you are going to spend money on manufacturing products, don't then take your own photos in your garden, okay?
Yeah.
Because and that's another thing, is, you know, retailers are saying they want organized photography, they want strong photography. You will do so much better if you actually pay for your photographer, you pay for your stylist, you
Yeah.
make sure you have, because you know what, they're not going to do as good a job for you if you're pulling in every favor under the sun.
Yeah.
So just like, make sure you've got a budget for photography, and make sure that the end stage of selling a product is marketing. Have a marketing budget.
Yeah.
You can't just do these things yourself. And actually, even if it's the smallest amount of budget, have one, because
Yeah.
it's just bonkers me. Anyway, I've gone from that into preaching again.
No, no. I mean, we've been saying this for years, and it's still, people still don't do it. But in this day and age, in the way everything is, so it's visual and it's reduced to a thing the size of your palm. And basically, a dull, ordinary picture isn't going to do anything for you.
No, it's really, really not. And it's just think about the investment in that photograph, where it's going to get used. It's going to be used in so many materials,
Yeah.
like, emails, social, web. It's like everywhere, print, just got to have good photography. It also is a point of difference to
Yeah.
for you as a brand. And actually, and make sure your photography, okay, make sure your photography is not dark. I've seen, sorry, I've seen some really dark photography, not dark as in the context, dark as in the lighting of it, and also the theming of it, your colors and things like that, right? Okay, so brilliant. Even if your colors are burgundy and everything like that, you are never gonna do as well with your photography if you've got burgundy backdrops for your lookbooks and things. It just doesn't work, because majority of online shops and things need their photography to be clean and light and everything like that. So
But there's also a difference. For the photography for an
yeah,
online shop is
yeah,
not the photography for your
for a
promotion.
campaign, yeah, I
No.
know,
You
yeah,
can do online shop, you can do a one day with the whatever, shots against a white
yeah.
background, your lookbook essentially. But you also need your campaign pictures.
But even the campaign pictures that people have been doing that are darker, though, Linda, they just the retailers are not wanting that. They just and the press, we can go, oh well, that's beautiful, that I love that feeling, and
Yeah.
and it's artistic, but I really do feel like, be careful of the really dark greens, be careful of the really dark burgundies, and if you are going to do that, make sure, if it's a campaign and you are doing it in a studio, make sure it's really well lit,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
some of the stuff, I think people they can actually go off of the actual clothing because they see a picture up and it's just too dark. Lifestyle, I saw, do you remember For Ivor?
Yes.
Yeah, so they were back.
Okay.
Like, they haven't been back for a long time to kind of trade shows, and they had, so obviously they've now, been around for a certain amount of years. They've got all their beautiful kind of fairy tale blankets and telling and storytelling, but
Yeah.
they've got this really I think it was called, God, you forgive me if I not got this right, but it's like a midnight tea party, and it's such a beautiful
They
theme.
always were beautiful. Yeah. Playtime Paris now, I think, is where you get the most lifestyle product, isn't it? Pitti have started to introduce it. CIFF, there was just one brand. But Playtime has those aisles where they have the lifestyle products.
Yeah, so they've got like four, which I think obviously do work, because like brands like Sticky Lemon go back time and time again to it.
And they're a lovely brand as
Oh yeah,
well.
well that was majorly one of my picks, like,
Yeah.
because they yeah, that was my accessories pick. Yeah, they're back time and time again, but then they do lots of other shows that are like
Yeah.
based more like lifestyle shows. But obviously, it must work enough within that realm for those kind of boutiques that are picking up, access like bags and the
I always loved at CIFF Fabalab, and they
yes,
weren't there this time.
they were at Playtime Paris, I
That
think.
maybe that's why then. This clash of the shows
Yeah,
being
I
so
think it's really
close together.
problematic. I really do
Yeah.
think it's a problem. It's difficult to be that competitive in this kind of market at the moment in Europe, but never mind. So just moving on to accessories, Sticky Lemon. So they had their first collection last season of spring summer, which was their clothing collection, and it was very nice. This selection, which is really funny, is it's sea themed, so it's like a Ahoy kind of sea themed, and you think, gosh, you can't do sea and redo it, and but it's brilliant, like, and how can you do a stripe
Yeah,
and suddenly rave
nautical.
about a stripe and not yet nautical. How can you do nautical and it be
Yeah,
interesting? It is. It's brilliant. They do it brilliantly. It's one of my favorite collections they've ever done, and it's nautical. And
I'm going to
and
have to look out for
oh,
that
it's
then.
so good. It's so well done. It's just like the stripes are lovely. Like the stripes are like hand kind of painted stripes, so they're
Yeah,
not just straight stripes. So there's like a little
yeah,
bit of kind of, I don't know, feeling in it. It's just
yeah.
the color palette on this one is so good. There are some lovely, like beautiful tote shopping kind of bag things. So
Mm,
there's something for mom as well, like in the
yeah,
kids shop that you can.
yeah.
But yeah, how can you do nautical and it not be boring? Well, Sticky Lemon can do it.
I've actually thought of something different,
Oh,
and there was a toothpaste brand.
oh my God, I was obsessed with them, Linda.
Oh
We've
my
got it
God, what
out.
were they called?
I can
Ah,
go get it actually and tell you because we've got them in the bathroom. They gave us the two little gifts, testers for
yes.
the girls, and my girls are 16 and 13, and they love it. Rich and I were talking about it. It's really, really good to have a little vial of them when you're traveling because
That's
if
exactly what I thought. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a tablet. For people that don't know, it's a tablet. You don't use water. You pop it in your mouth, you chew it, and it foams. And doesn't have fluoride. It's very natural. If a kid swallows it, it's fine. It's, not
they
a
were
mistake.
German.
We'll put the name in the caption.
Yeah, it's always a testament when you bring something like that home, whether people use it or not. And like my kids really, really like it.
So that's a pretty good roundup we've done there, I think.
Yeah. Maybe I should do like an other mentions go to, like in the films.
Yes.
Other mentions go to Organic Zoo for just, they've always got the most amazing prints and the most amazing quality of cotton. Beanie Bamba, they obviously have fleece, but they're fleeces to put on your pram. They've done a collab with Bobo Shows, and it's super cool. And also, they were in the American market, and I could see that they were doing very well. Javier Veras, which they have beautiful baby blankets, but actually what I fell in love with was their baby boxes that were gifts. And they have the
Ah,
designer was a art director for films and some famous films, and she has created this brand using Aztec prints, and they've all like the paper was beautiful, the box was beautiful, everything was about it. Do you have anybody to mention in the end
oh, one
credits?
of our favourites, and time again, she does it so well. Apollo,
Oh yes,
beautiful embroidered linens and silks.
she's so good.
So, special mention for Apollo.
Yeah, and it was very funny because they were giving out little brooches. And before I knew it, it was really, she made me laugh so much, like her daughter. Before I knew it, I had like the same matching color on my jumper, like a little bunny rabbit. And Ali and I had such a laugh because she thought that hers was a bird, and it was because it was the wrong way, and the ears looked like a beak, and I was like, we had a bit of a debate. I was like, it's a rabbit, and then when I got one put on me, I was like, Ali, it's a rabbit. So there we go. Yeah, their collection is it's all forest themed, isn't it? And it's like
Yeah,
woodland themed, and
yeah.
it's
It's so
exquisite, really.
sweet.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really lovely. Cool. I think that's us, Linda. Oh
yeah,
my! The
yeah.
person in our ear has just said that the toothpaste brand was called Natch.
Yeah. There you go.
Natch. So yeah, and then that's a testament as well to Pitti doing more lifestyle stuff.
Yes.
Like we, that was one of our favorites. So
That was a
yeah.
surprise. It's nice to have a surprise like that.
I don't know how the food fitted in for the people that were
No.
exhibiting, but I mean I enjoyed tasting it, so that's fine.
So, what have we got lined up next? We'll
Well,
have to find something, won't we?
yeah, yes, yeah, no rest
We'll
for
have to
the
go back
wicked,
to
Linda.
guests. We haven't had guests for ages. We need to find a few guests.
Well, I think Linda, what we're going to do is create a series. So
Ah.
yeah, we're gonna work on a series, and it's coming at some time soon. Anyway, as per usual, it's been a pleasure. I mean, I guess just in a roundup, you know what? I don't think we need well, we do need the Kidswear Therapy podcast, but
We
I
do.
don't need therapy after this season.
No,
I've not had
I
a
agree. I feel much more positive,
yeah,
than I was feeling
yeah,
six
me,
months
I
ago.
feel so much more positive, and I know that times can be tough and everything like that, but I just feel like the people that are on it,
Yeah,
and that's how you survive.
it is.
Visibility. Get your
Yeah.
visibility. Ta-da! There we go.
So
Bye.
long. Till the next time, then. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening. Remember, you can continue the conversation in the Pirouette Directory forums at pirouettedirectory.com. If you've enjoyed our podcast and want to show some love, you can leave us a rating or review wherever it is you listen right now. Kidswear Therapy is a Pirouette Media production.